Decent. That's what we call decent.
You are wearing Western. I'm wearing African.
This is African.
Africa.
This.
So what up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Luke and I'm joined by...
Guys, welcome back to Table Talk. It's your boy Chris, as usual. We've got some guests here with us. We're just going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi guys, I'm Sam. I'm the Bramfontein pool champion. Well, not really.
I know Sam is good at pool. Yeah.
Hey guys, my name is Cyril, 2022 Social Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yeah, great. So guys, obviously, you can tell who's joining us at the table today. And of course, we're going to be looking into a very interesting social topic. Should I call it that? Social issue? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because oftentimes this topic or issue leads into conflicts. So, yeah, Chris, take us down the topic lane.
Okay, gentlemen and our viewers, we're going to be talking about decency, right? And this is going to be in reaction to a video that Patrick bumped into. And then he showed it to me and I thought it was a bit disturbing, and we immediately agreed we needed to present this on Table Talk and get the reaction from our guests and also people from YouTube. So without any further ado, we're just going to take a quick snippet, take a quick look at it, and then over to us. Yeah.
Let's cut the whole story short. Yes. We've got a right of admission. I don't condone this in my mall, so you can look who make it.
I'm saying here it's in Africa.
Yeah, this is Africa. Then you can't tell someone what to do or what to wear at which mall.
It's a public place.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You are dressing decently.
Oh, this is not decently. This is not decently. That's what you are saying. This is not. This is not.
Because I'm wearing African.
This is what you are saying.
Yeah. So what actually happened was, this gentleman gets into, this looks like a department shop, like a disc game, whatever it is, and he's got some clicks, right? It's a clicks. He's got traditional attire on, and some dude who looks like the manager isn't really feeling it, and his argument is that that's not decent, right? What the gentleman had on, according to him, isn't decent. So then the question we want to pose is, what is decency? What do you guys think it is? Let's start off there before we actually tackle this particular issue. How do you understand what decency is?
Yeah, the video there is disturbing, bro. Yeah, it's very disturbing. But my take on decency, bro, is living freely, bro. Like doing everything free, like freedom of speech, freedom of doing anything. Like that's my take on that. Decency, bro.
Oh, for me, decency, is that the word? Or?
Yeah, decency, yeah.
Decency, maybe I heard it.
Yeah, it's
so
decency.
For me, what's decent is what does not disturb other people. So for me, decency is not about yourself, but it's about how other people feel about how you present yourself. So it's not really dictated by yourself, but it's mostly dictated by the society
you live in,
or the culture you are in. Yeah, that's what I think about decency. So not choking the society or the culture you are in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes. I think I would go with this definition as well, because it pinpoints exactly on that very factor or definition of decency. That is, it's all dependent on the society you are living in. Because I mean, in reference to the video, if the man was maybe living in his village, that's decent. Yeah. So that's decent actually. He's wearing in a very decent manner. But now, according to that man, because majority of people they are actually wearing like normal formal clothes that we
normal.
Okay, normal according to their normal. That man is regarded as indecent because it doesn't fit in with the whole surrounding, like you stated. Yeah, that's my definition. What's your definition, Chris?
I'm gonna borrow from everyone. I think everyone made some really excellent points. Starting off with Cyril, decency for me, in a big way, is equal to freedom, right?
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another
You
thing.
cannot
Yeah,
be
true.
decent and at the same time be, in a way, like oppressed or in a way held back, right? That wouldn't be a decent thing to do. No
true.
pun intended on that. But at the same time, your expression of your freedom must not offend or must not greatly disturb the society that you find yourself in, right?
True.
It must be respectful of the laws that exist there. It must be respectful of the traditions you find there. It's got to be respectful of the status quo of where you're at, basically. So if you behave in a way that is liberating, yes, but it's within the construct of where you are, for me, you're probably decent. But then the shocker about this video is that how does this guy all of a sudden, like, just based off his clothing, right, just call him out and say this is an indecent way of wearing? And the other gentleman's argument was like, this is Africa, right? If you look at it, if you look at that sentence, this is Africa, it means what I'm wearing belongs to Africa. What he said indirectly is, I'm decent according to
African standards.
According to African standard, right?
Yeah.
Society we are.
Yes,
In the continent we are.
exactly. It means according to my way of understanding my African tradition, where I'm at, I'm decently dressed. But what does that say about the other thing? For me, in my head, the opposite is true. It means if I'm decent according to African tradition, African land, and whatever it is, you, sir, are indecent.
That's an insult now. Come on, think about it. In such context, from looking at it from, from that perspective you painted, that's an insult because you're now telling the next person is indecent. If by African standards, if the way I'm dressed is decent, in one way or another, think about it, guys.
Yeah, I think that there was not exclusion. He didn't mean, or that lady didn't mean any exclusion there. She said, this is Africa, and according to African standard, I am decent. You are not indecent, but you are decent according to Western culture,
civilization.
So,
okay.
I mean, it was not. She didn't mean to insult the other person, but she wanted to make him understand that this is normal for us, and what you're doing is also normal for you. So we can all be normal, but in different ways.
Yeah, in different
ways.
Okay, that's a good. That's a good one, Cyril.
Yeah, I mean, the view I just saw now tells me that, like, now Africa is westernized now. Like,
That's true.
people like us black people, we no longer carry that pride in our heritage.
That's true.
Yeah, that's very true. You've pinpointed on that issue. I mean, that's very true. But then the question is, how do you expect us to carry our proud Africanness if all we're surrounded by is the very elements of Western civilization? If all elements around us, I mean, the clothes we dress, the movies we watch, the songs we listen to,
language we're speaking,
the language we speak, the most acceptable language to speak in is not ours. How do you still expect us to hold on to our African traditions?
This is where, if I was the person who was dressed in the African dress, if somebody had the guts to tell me I'm indecent in Africa being dressed like that, I'll be like, no, you're indecent. Look, why do I say that? What is the manner through which we find ourselves westernized, right? Was it decent in the first place?
No.
How that happened? I don't think it was decent. I'm not about to get into a whole political argument or anything, but that was proper indecent. How can you come and tell me that this is your way of doing things? It's beneath me. I think it's a heathen practice or whatever it is. This is the right way, and now the whole frame is shifted. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I grew up knowing that the road goes this way, and then you come and tell me the road goes that way, and now all of a sudden I must pivot and start heading that way, and I must expect that to be decent. Look, I can't relate because I wasn't there when that happened, but as somebody who has a cultural disconnect, right, and a big cultural disconnect, like I don't know jack about my traditions and all that. Like, that's sad. So
That's right.
that rubs me the wrong way, and I'm like, if I was that person in the African dress, I'd be like, no, you're indecent. I think I'm decent by all means. Why should decent be according to your definition? Right?
Okay, that's a very interesting one. Okay, culturally disconnection. I mean, I understand that man, right? I understand that man, and I understand what he was advocating for. Because, I mean, if you watch other videos, they interviewed him after the whole incident. He was interviewed, and I think he even broke down, because he says his whole mission is he's not doing what he's doing from an... By the way, he's very much educated, by the way, guys. Yeah, that man is very educated. He's not illiterate.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he's
He
very...
doesn't seem like
Yeah, no, it's not, he's not illiterate.
That's also a problem, because we have attached that attire, that way of dressing to people who
Illiteracy, yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, I understand. But just to point it out,
you see what I'm talking about?
just to point out, because someone will look at the guy and be like, "I know the guy is very ignorant," you know? Yeah, but he's not ignorant. Like, he's very much educated, and his whole cry is he's doing that for the sake of his people. He says, we are being westernized, like you stated, to the point where we don't even know our languages. Our languages are corrupted. I mean, speak Zulu, you would mix a bit of Afrikaans there, and you mix a bit of English there and there. And that's not the proper way of speaking our languages. And at the end of the day, the English win, because that's their language. And the guy was talking about the fact that 100 years from now, 50 years from now, will African people still speak our regional language, or regional? Well, and the answer, of course, is a big no, because it's a big no. But then again, I'll still look at the positivity that the Western civilization came with.
only the positive side of it. Like,
You know, there is negatives, but then again, we also need to consider the positive sides of things. Yeah, I'm just stating.
We could consider the positives, because, and I'll tell you why we can look at the positives.
All right.
Okay, it's because we're deprived of living in the positives that African culture gave us. How do you know that African culture's positives are better than Western civilizations? You don't, because you were stripped of the chance to live in that kind of system.
Well, very
I'm not
true.
gonna say it's nice wearing Nikes and, like, you know, taking an Uber. That stuff is great. But what if I lived in a traditional African society and then I got something better? Like, not
What,
something
riding an
that's in there.
elephant, Chris?
Have you been on an elephant
No,
before?
I've never.
I've never been on an elephant
maybe
either.
that thing is nicer than riding a...
But guys,
No, but that right there, you see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, we even the way we think about African culture is westernized. Where does the notion of riding an elephant come from? Who rides elephants in Africa? I can't name one country where they ride elephants.
no, but Chris,
Doesn't
we've
exist.
seen it.
I've never seen anyone riding
in
elephants.
Africa.
Nah.
No, but if
but
you're Asian, but come on, guys, if elephants were still
We never rode no
leave with
elephants,
elephants,
bro.
no,
We
but
didn't ride
guys,
elephants.
Where have you seen that? Where have you seen
Guys, I'm
people
just
living with
saying.
elephants
I'll
inside?
tell you where you saw it. You saw it on TV,
On
because
TV,
that's
yeah.
what Western culture believes.
okay, what do you think we'll be riding on, Chris?
Pretty much. We wouldn't need to. We could ride horses like normal people, or we could have made chariots like they did. I mean, Lord knows, we have the skill, we had the knowledge. So my thing and my far cry is that even the way we define decency, right, is now associated to a certain, like, culture. You know what I'm saying? Decency is it's a set of good manners according to a Western culture. Anything that is not good manners according to Western culture is indecent. How do we know that? History proves it all the time.
True.
Every time there was an idea that was against Western culture, communism, indecent.
Then we know what's really the powers that are ruling, isn't it?
But because also there's this, I think the media, they play a big role in that change of mentality, westernization and stuff. So whatever we are exposed to, it's from them. You know, when you take another, even with this war and stuff in Ukraine and Russia, everything that Russia says, it's propaganda. But everything that the USA, it's more like the truth. Like that's freedom of speech. They are right and all those things. But when the Russian expose the facts or the war, everything about them is propaganda. There's no truth.
Sure.
It's because they control what we watch, and if they control what you.
The consuming the information we consume. Yeah.
Also in schools, they teach you that
the way you
in
think
Africa,
also,
to this day, like there are other Europeans that think in Africa it's a jungle.
True.
To this day, like I meet a lot of people from overseas, Europe, like when they come here, they're surprised, like wow, this place is nice, you see, because before they come here, they think like maybe they'll see horses, you see.
They'll see us fighting with lions.
like how Mike Tyson says.
Like those guys can kill gorillas with their bare, and who does that?
That was crazy, but it's I mean, talking about this and misinformation, because I was like, I was looking while we were preparing for the topic, right? Because majority of people are like down with Westernization, right? The Western culture. Let's bring our cultures to power. Let me call it like, let's resurrect our African cultures. Yes, let's be more practical. Let's practice it. And I was like, well, but yeah, that's possible. But then again, it's not possible. It's not. It might take another 1,000 years.
Why you say so?
Because again, pointing out that the fact that media, the sources of our information, Westernize. The sources of culture, Westernize. Technological wise, Westernize. Infrastructural wise, Westernize. Religious wise, Westernize. Governmental, Westernize.
But here in our country, like 24th of September, we celebrate Heritage Day.
Yeah.
Don't you think public holidays like that can...
No, it has no effect.
You don't think so?
Personally,
so?
I know it
does,
it's just
in that
remembrance.
day, we wear our traditional clothes, wear like my Zulu clothes.
No, but think about it, Serial.
Yeah,
Do we not celebrate Christmas?
we do.
No.
There's no difference.
Same argument. And I can add on to Pat's point, because if you think of the system, right? The system is westernized. And what I think we need to do is we must centralize our culture, right? How do we do this? It will be difficult for us to say, let's go back to our original culture, because the truth is the number of people that still live and practice according to the way our original culture is, there aren't that many of us. Do you understand? These people have such a big job if they need to educate the masses about culture and heritage and dress and food and whatever it is. What we can do is we have a central idea, right, which is cornered or is basically based off our original set of beliefs, our original way of life and stuff, and we build from that point onwards. Because if you even think of like Western civilization with their philosophy and thoughts and stuff, they built off something that was already there. Why don't we have something where we're like, okay, cool, Africa, this is how it is. We've got a Western way of thinking, but it's clear that we want to have something that's unique, right?
That's it.
It's okay. What if it's Western living, but it's unique? How do we build on top of that? And what Patrick said is that having a Heritage Day kind of thing is cute, yes, but does it get the points across?
Sometimes.
Yeah, yesterday I shared something on my Facebook account, like in Ethiopia is Natural Hair Day. It's a public holiday where like they're embracing their natural hair. So like I think something like that, also Heritage Day, can change the narrative people's mind. Don't you think so?
I don't think that's one day only. One day only can make a big difference. You know, I think it should be a
way
lifestyle.
of life. I
It should
understand.
be a
Way of
lifestyle
living.
for. We should normalize like wearing African traditional attire ourselves, like ourselves. Go out as you African if you want to. So I think we should reset our way of thinking. we should reset it. Just like you said, like going back to the original will be difficult, but at least we should first question the Western culture. Like, why are they saying this is not this is good, and our beliefs about why are they saying that? We should question that, and then and from there, try as much as we can to do the things that how we used to do them. Whenever it's possible, like for religiously, for let's say our
practices, festivals.
Yeah, festivals, all those things.
Okay, I wanted to touch on this. Well, don't you guys think it goes down to values and norms, not just practices? Because I mean, Cyril, if we had to talk about our festive days or holidays where we give remembrance to our African cultures and root, that really doesn't, it just scratches the surface. Like he says, it's cute. I mean, it's more about values and norm. And pointing out at what Sam says, it's more about looking at Western civilization. I think this is how this thing could have evolved to. I mean, think about it. There are good elements to Western civilization, but there are also bad elements. Because there are certain elements to Western civilization, such as there are norms and beliefs that are not really good for us as African people.
Yeah.
Such as not having manners, like that man already. What he demonstrated there is Western civilization type of culture, wokeism, the having the guts and it's not the decency, having the guts and
indecency.
Yeah, the indecency to approach another man and tell them what to do. That's not within our African values. To tell another person what to do. Think about it. Like, we don't just presumptuously just approach a person and be like, no, this is what you're wearing is no, that's not. We respect every person. And if I was to approach that other person from a African standpoint of views, according to our culture, I'll go there with respect. So I think it would have evolved properly where as individual we like, okay, technological wise, the Western have done this, so we'll take that. But as African, of course, we took everything.
No, it's not like we chose, right?
I hope I made sense, right?
You made sense. You made a lot of sense, but we didn't really say, okay, we're gonna choose this and we're gonna choose this, because in a way it was kind of forced down our throats. It's like, here it is, because why? That's how the system that we live in is designed. Okay,
true.
It's based off that way of thinking, that set of values and principles and ethics and stuff. And in a big way, we've been educated by that system, we've been brought up by that system. A lot of us are going to die in that system, right? That's just the truth. But how can we solve this problem whereby our African heritage is being questioned as is being marked as indecent, but still maintain the standard of living that we're at? Because we can't dispute the fact that Western culture's advantage is that it kind of raises up the standard of living, right? Because obviously there are opportunities to do one or two things. Maybe one or two things has been implemented better. Not to say that the African system didn't have that, but this is what we're used to, right? I wouldn't be able to tell you how the welfare system works in an African society because I've never been exposed to it. I know how the Western welfare system works though, because I know about it, right? I've been educated about it, whatever. So what we need to do, or according to the way I understand it, right, is, and I'll go back to the point I made, we're here now, right? We are in this system, it is what it is. What do we need to do? We need to educate our people about who we are, where we come from, what our languages are, this is what it is within the system.
Yeah.
We're not trying to revolt and you know what I'm saying?
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Will the system allow us to do that?
We are the masters of the system.
No, but that's a valid question. Think about it, Chris. Are we really the masters of the system?
Yeah.
We can lead
we exposed to that
revolution
in schools.
and
In schools, they can't change the whole curriculum.
They can. They've changed it.
No, but think about it, Sam. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, the thing is, these things, what can I say, reinforces themselves. There are elements to this type of civilization, Western civilization, right? And they're all connected. If you take one out, you must get rid of the other ones, right?
Yeah.
It's like
choosing. I think it's possible to choose what you teach your kid and what you don't teach them.
It's impossible. Then
it's not impossible. Look at, I will take this example of the movement LGBTQ plus all those stuff and how they're forcing, they imposing themselves into this world. They're changing the things that they're teaching at school. They're changing everything in order for people to think the way they think. And we can get inspired from that and also impose our people and our that we need to have people in power.
That's a powerful one.
We need to have people in power, and those people in power have to, design a certain system so that our culture can, live again. Those guys have done that. We were not considering that movement like that, but now we are more
open to
it because they've done the work.
But don't you think, before we go to Cyril's one, the whole LGBT, don't you think the main advantage and why it's people are lenient and of course majority of people have become open to it is because that group is considered marginalized, like it's a minority. They're considered a minority, and for the longest society has always been ignorant to it on the basis of religion and on the basis of culture, morals. That's the reason why they are being, and another thing we need to take into.
We have also been oppressed.
We've been marginalized because by that same argument, don't you think that people who are proud of their culture have been branded as ignorant, have been branded as uneducated, have been marginalized?
That's another thing. And the thing is with the LGBT, right? LGBTQ, forgive me, plus community, right? Don't you think, right, the reason why it's much more acceptable is because of the media. They took over the media infrastructure, right? That's the first thing they took. Now, do we have such authority? It goes back to him. Are we really in control and in position to really cause such changes?
Here's what I say. The LGBTQ plus movement worked because they, one, understood the kind of system they were living in, right? There goes the education thing I was talking about again. And two, they built substructures in the existing system. We can educate ourselves. In fact, one can argue that we are as educated as them, because who's not to say that they aren't members of the LGBTQ plus that don't want to push their African heritage out some more. They might be, but if they could build substructures or a micro system within the system, what's stopping us from doing that? Don't we have access to the media?
Okay, that's very much possible. But the envy of the whole world is the USA, Chris. That's and we are just the echo chamber. We are just echoes.
Okay, they've sold us the dream.
And we bought it.
We bought it
at a very high price.
Yes, and we can also sell it back.
We can sell it back
at the cost of blood, guys.
Yes. Why must it be at the cost of blood? Why would you want to kill me?
No, but think about it, guys. It will be at the cost of blood.
Why do you say that?
The reason why I say that is because this is much more politically connected, and everyone has some sort of advantages to it. Our own African brother will sell us, Chris. I'm telling you.
They've sold us before.
They've done it.
They've done it. I'm not shocked.
But I think there's a new generation coming up now, raising up and stuff. I think we can do that at the cost of blood. Yes.
Thank you. You know what?
Some people are ready to. It's a fight. It's like a war, and it can be cold and stuff, but it is a war of cultures, of intellectual things and stuff, and people people are, you know.
How many people are like Patrice Lumumba to die? Okay, I'm sorry.
didn't die
I would,
willingly, though,
okay, no, but I will admit
yeah,
it.
but he was re-
yeah, but he was
ready. He
Yeah,
was
but
ready.
I will admit it, guys. I'm not ready for death. So
Nobody ever is, Patrick. But some heads need to roll in order for there to be change.
how many heads?
Some.
A couple.
You know, you've heard. I'm sure you guys heard of the conspiracy of this. Who's this guy that passed, the president of Tanzania?
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the whole corona thing,
Corona
he
thing,
refused to buy into the whole
Yeah.
story, and of course, that's a conspiracy theory. You know, I'm not saying it's true, but I don't know. You never know. But
I support that idea.
you what?
Let's suppose that.
Yeah, because
allegedly.
he tried to stand against it. Now imagine those are our people in authority, the man we look up to, and say, you know what, these guys are really for us. If they're being chopped like that, what more of us at the bottom? Am I even a person? Maybe I'm just a number.
Many times, whenever they needed to be changed, it was not initiated by the person at the top. There's been times where great change needed to happen, and it didn't start from the top. It was actually the other way around. People at the bottom built enough momentum to the point where change happened. An example of this is the French Revolution, right? It went from the bottom up. That is a worst case scenario because their heads will literally roll. If we had to take that approach, people are going to die. But obviously, if you need to start this thing from a grassroots level and educate people from a grassroots level, right? And they educate the next person and the next person and the next person, enough, you've got, at some point, you've got momentum on your side because you've created this wave that it's snowballing to the point where it can't be ignored anymore and it will force change.
When you say grassroots level, you say when you're young.
Exactly.
Okay, when you're young, let's say 6 years old, 7 years old, where do you spend most of your time at?
Spend most of the time at school.
At school. What do they teach in school?
Your ABCs and how to count and
French Revolution.
Everything
They
that's
teach us
Western.
about
They teach you
Spanish
the language,
Revolution,
the language,
Soviet
structure,
Union.
yeah.
They teach us about other people's history.
Exactly.
when you're 7.
Yeah, but this
No, from there they begin
Yeah.
to put things in you, you know. They don't tell you about your African
They can never
father
tell
who
you about
fought
that.
They
war
won't.
with
But
5
that's
lions.
the thing.
we have to change, right? You know, I think we've been colonized like that. That was back in the days, but now it's time. I think it's time for us to stand up and to force this change into those.
Don't you think
educational-
our forefathers and our fathers tried
No.
changing that?
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't you think so?
But revolution sometimes it
Their
takes time.
fight was different, right? What was their fight for? Their fight was for sovereignty. Their fight was for liberation of the physical chains. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And they won.
They saw physical chains. Okay.
Did they win?
Did they win?
That fight.
Yeah, they won.
Let me tell you why, because we don't have physical chains that, so in a way they won. But they didn't get rid of the mental ones. They didn't get rid of, they didn't, look,
I'm with him on that.
according to their fight.
I'm with him on that.
According to their fight. If our fight was, let's liberate this country, the question will be, is this country still under a colonial power? No, it's a sovereign country. So therefore, they won that battle.
The question is, did they really see the real war? Where was the real war going on?
The real war was too evident. They couldn't be bothered about, bro.
If we have to take it back to this, all right? Majority of our fathers who fought didn't really see that here. Because standards are holy here.
Yeah.
We don't have boards in the streets, Chris, written, thou shalt not walk in African clothing or lion skin. No. It's all here.
It's all here.
So they worked on us here. So the real war, personally, like, he's disagreeing, and I believe he's disagreeing to this as well. That is, the real war was not here.
Was
The
not
real
here.
war was here.
Yeah, but
Yes,
there
but-
it was a step to the. You don't win the war like on one battle. You start somewhere.
You
And
start
they
exactly.
They started-
Thank you for putting it out that way. The battle that they had to face. Let's call it the battle that they had to face, right? We can, to an extent, I can agree with you that the war, yes, of course, is mental because that's how they entrapped them in the first place. But what was the battle that they needed to fight? It was the one facing them at that current moment. At this moment, if I had to ask you, Cyril or Patrick, are you an indentured laborer? Are you working somewhere where you're not being paid? Of course not.
I don't know. It might be coming. I don't know. I don't know.
You're not.
No, you don't.
Is your country using a thingy? Are you under the rule of the Queen right now? Because at some point South Africa was.
Do we really know if the Queen is not ruling this country?
We have South African brands.
We have the South African rand.
At least.
The Queen is in the background.
Nah, bro. Their battles were there, facing them like this. Our battles.
I think they won the battle and then they lost the war.
They didn't lose the
They
war.
didn't lose the war.
They left us.
It's ongoing.
The
and we are
momentum,
fighting
exactly.
that.
It's
We are
the
fighting
slow-
that second battle, and now
Okay.
children also
Supposedly,
fight.
we didn't lose the war, right? They won the battle, and they're saying we're still in the war. How many soldiers are in this war, and how many soldiers are still fighting?
As many as necessary.
If not dancing, we dance. We're just dancing, Chris.
That's the problem.
Are we all dancing?
Majority of us, yeah.
But not all of
We
us.
are tense.
Not all of us.
Not all of us. Some
I'll
of
tell you, there's not all of us.
Yeah.
Some of us are like, okay, you guys dance. We're gonna fight the battle that's in front of us.
No, well, all of us here at the table, we are fighting right now because this is It
Yeah.
shows that we are not dancing. So
But
guys,
is
we're
it
not
fair to
dancing.
say that it's only 4 of us in the entire country that's
Oh no,
doing
no,
this?
it's not fair.
But
I'm just speaking about
only
us
a
here.
minority
None
of
of
us.
us is dancing. Though.
Don't you think so?
It is a minority of
Other
us.
people, they do think of what we're speaking about now, but they're afraid to, because in the Western, it's gonna be perceived as indecency. Don't you think of that?
I think so, and here's a reason why.
It will, and you.
It will.
It's a very nice point. He pointed. I've got
Exactly.
a beautiful picture,
Lovely
Chris. Your
picture,
point,
and
yeah.
Your point is excellent, sir, because if it's a large thing, in fact, the fact that only a small number of people are doing it is why it's considered indecent.
Because also with me, I do practice some of the things in my culture and my heritage, but on a public platform, like, I won't just do that. Why?
Yeah, it's
Because I'm gonna be perceived as
Indecent.
Indecent.
Because I was thinking, remember this picture I have in mind, right?
Yeah.
Stuck on your point. We were talking about, in preparation for this topic, we were talking about, take a girl, right? Right? A woman who's dressed in a traditional clothing. You know, majority of them would not even put on their top.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Take that type of woman walking in public, right? Nowadays she'll be considered indecent. She's like, oh my God, it's a taboo, right? Cool. And she'll be considered indecent from a Western perspective, right? Now, take a Western girl, take a, exactly, that we've cuddled with in bed. Yeah. Now, take a different perspective. That's according to Western civilization, right? Now, according to our cultural ways of doing things, supposedly you see, nowadays, guys, you've seen it. You see a girl, right? Crop top, right? No bra inside, right? And she's wearing on you know those shorts, the bum shorts. According to our cultural ways of living, that's indecent. A woman should not dress like that, right? Because we understand even the dressing of a woman not putting anything on top, in one way or another, it was restricted to certain practices as well, right? Now, this is a picture of two different people and two different scenarios, and one considered decent and indecent.
I think the difference is, for me, the difference lies in the fact that the second girl wearing the crop top and stuff, she wants to appear sexy, you see? She wants to be sexually appealing to other people.
We took it in the right direction.
While the other lady is not, that's the way she dresses and she's not looking for anything. So that's why we kind of level that as decent and this one
indecent.
and indecent. In the intention of those two different girls.
Okay, from that very